This is your daily news report and third stimulus. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm Frank Chou, and I'm here to help you live a richer life. Today we're going to talk about a topic that's really important right now as we get into the tax season. What exactly do you need to have ready so that you can file everything that you need to? What I have here is a list of everything that you might need to be ready to file. Now, there are going to be variations for your individual tax situation, so I highly recommend that you consult a tax professional. I have worked in corporate finance for about a decade, and I still use a CPA to do my taxes because my situation is pretty complex with having rental properties as well as my earned income and passive income. So make sure to consult a professional if you have a complicated tax situation. It's their job to know what the most up-to-date information is, and because of that, they will be able to provide you with the best quality of service. I have always found this to be one of the greatest expenses that I make every year. Always worth it. He's always able to help me find things that even I would have missed because he knows the tax code so well. Let me go through this with you, what you should prepare for, and I'll put a link down in the description to H&R Block's website where they actually have a nice checklist that you can follow so you make sure that you don't forget anything as you're getting ready to file. So that being said, make sure that you audit that like button for the YouTube algorithm and hit that subscribe button. Let's jump right into it. Alright, so I want to cover first the basics, so what personal information you need for yourself and your dependents, and then we'll get into some of the more detailed items that you might need for your tax situation. Happy Friday, I hope you're having a very nice day. Personal information. So you need your social security or tax ID number, as well as if you're married, your spouse's full name, social security or tax ID, and date of birth. Any information about your stimulus payment, you need to gather this so that you make sure to have the appropriate recording for this. This is going to be really important for the 2020 tax filing. Any identity protection PIN, if you have one, for you, your spouse, or dependents that's been given by the IRS, as well as your checking account information if you plan to receive your refund by direct deposit. Dependent information, dates of birth and social security numbers or tax ID numbers for your dependents. Child care records if you plan to be claiming child care expenses. Any income of dependents or other adults in your home, and then a Form 8332 showing that your child's custodial parent is releasing their right to claim a child for you if you're a non-custodial parent. Really important here because if you're divorced and your tax situation requires this, you definitely need to have that signed form. Employment. If you were employed, you need your W-2, and if you were unemployed, you need a 1099-G form. If you were self-employed, 1099, Schedule K-1, and you need to have records of all your expenses, assets, and then if you have a home office, any information around that, whether that pertains to square footage, utilities, so on and so forth. Again, consult your professional. He or she will be able to give you a full breakdown of everything you need to provide them so they can file for you if you so choose. And of course, also, if you're self-employed, any record of payments already made. So if you've made quarterly tax payments, there are records of that as well. If you own rental property, rental income and expenses, information about the asset itself, and then any tax payments made, so like your property taxes, for instance. If you are retired, you need your pension, IRA, or annuity income. This is a 1099-R. Social Security or retirement income. Savings accounts. Interest, investments, dividends. This is really important. If you've opened an account like Webull or M1 Finance, and you have gotten some kind of bonus, SoFi, any of these banks that offer these, you've got to have your form. So interest or dividend income, you have a 1099 interest or dividend form. Income from sale of stock or other property, these are also different variations of a 1099. Dates of acquisition, records of your cost, and other basis in property that you may have sold. And so keep in mind, this can be any property that had a capital gain, HSA accounts, long-term care reimbursements, any expenses related to your investments. So this may not be a security, but it could be another kind of investment that you've had expenses related to. Record of estimated tax payments made, and any transactions involving cryptocurrency. Make sure if you've traded Bitcoin, Ethereum, any cryptocurrency, that you have records of this. The IRS is going to be cracking down on cryptocurrencies, and it's only going to get more and more as time goes on. So make sure that you have that. You don't want to be caught having transacted in cryptocurrencies but not having reported it to the IRS. Other income and losses. Gambling income, jury duty, hobby income, prizes and awards, income from a trust, royalty income, any other 1099s not already mentioned, record of alimony paid or received with an ex-spouse's name and social security number, and if you received a state tax refund. Now let's get into some of the more nitty-gritty. I'm going to run through this really quick because this is not going to apply to everybody, but these are other types of deductions that you should be aware of and have documentation for if you so qualify. So, home ownership, Forms 1098 or other mortgage interest statements, real estate or personal property tax records, receipts for energy-saving home improvements from solar panels, solar water heaters, etc. Anything that you can get a rebate for there, make sure you have documentation. All other 1098 forms, charitable donations, cash amounts donated to houses of worship, schools, or other charitable organizations, records of non-cash charitable donations. Did you know that you can donate stock to a charity? And if you do this, you don't have to pay any tax on the capital gains because you've donated the asset itself. So it's a really cool way to be able to donate to a charity or church or so on. Ask your tax professional about that for more details. Amounts of miles driven for charitable or medical purposes. All right. Medical expenses, amounts paid for healthcare insurance and to doctors, dentists, and hospitals. Remember, there are certain things required to be able to claim these as deductions. This is primarily if you're going to itemize and not take the standard deduction. Again, you want all your ducks in a row, have all the documentation together, and then you can assess whether to take the standard deduction or if you want to itemize. Sometimes it's going to make more sense to itemize, but most of the time the standard deduction is probably going to cover you, especially since it was increased with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act under President Donald Trump. Health insurance, Form 1095A, if you are enrolled in an insurance plan through a marketplace like the Obamacare marketplace. Child care expenses we did mention, but fees paid to a licensed daycare center or family daycare center, amounts paid to a babysitter or provider of care for your child under age 13 while you are working, and expenses paid through a dependent care FSA. Educational expenses, Forms 1098T from educational institutions, receipts that itemize qualified educational expenses, records of any scholarships or fellowships you received, because these are taxable. Make sure you know that and contact your professional if you have further questions. Form 1098E, if you paid student loan interest. So keep that in mind. Even if it's a federal loan, you probably paid student loan interest in the beginning of the year. So make sure you have that. K through 12 educator expenses, receipts for classroom expenses if you are a teacher and you paid for these things out of pocket. State and local taxes, amount of state and local income or sales tax paid, invoice showing the amount of vehicle sales tax paid, and or personal property tax on vehicles. So make sure you have that. Your tax professional can help you in this process. Make sure to consult him or her. This video and all these videos are for entertainment purposes only and not to be construed as tax or investment advice. See the disclaimer in the description. Retirement and other savings accounts. Form 5498-SA for your HSA contributions. Also for your IRAs, there's a 5498. And then for any other 5498 forms, which can result from retirement savings accounts. And finally, if you lived in a federally declared disaster area, you need to have this information because of certain things you can claim on your taxes. You need the city or county you lived, worked, or had property in that was affected by the disaster. You need records to support any property losses and records of rebuilding or repair costs, insurance reimbursements or claims to be paid, FEMA assistance information if you received any assistance from FEMA, and make sure to check that FEMA website to see if it was a legitimately declared federal disaster area. If you have any questions, I'm going to say it one more time, that way we don't miss out. Consult your tax professional. They will be able to assist you. There's plenty of online resources that you can use, or you can use a qualified CPA. Make sure they are a licensed CPA that can help you here. You don't want to get caught up with someone who's just a tax preparer who can just be Joe Blow on the street. You want a CPA. If you have any comments about taxes, whether you like them, hate them, know what they're for, don't know, but want to know more, I'll link a video in the description about talking to your kids about taxes that we did. That was pretty fun before. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate you being here. Make sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. We hit the 500 mark and we're climbing and we're going to keep going. I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much for spending some time with me, and make sure to get your taxes filed before the deadline. Lots of extra questions this year, so it definitely is worth your while to consult a professional. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.